Hi, I'm Whack.
Hi, and I'm Pat. Welcome to another edition of the Weekly Orbit, week ending January 19th. This is We're going to summarize the week's happenings of Rocket Pool in about 30 minutes or less. Whack, it's been a kind of another crazy week.
Yeah, we're still living the consequences of yesterday. Like, of course, we're talking about the Rocket Pool Twitter account being compromised. It's still currently compromised while we're recording this. Hopefully, the team will get control of that account soon. It's just the common sentiment is that Twitter has kind of fallen into the toilet, and it's just horrible now. Where Elon has completely decimated any kind of customer relations teams you know, um, or security teams, and now we're just left with hacking accounts running rampant on the platform. It's terrible.
Yeah, and it's like you can't even get your account back after you've
Hmm.
reported it. It takes, here we are a day later. Well, but we'll
Yeah.
talk about that more. We're going to get into the news, and I've got our screen pulled up. We're going to start with some stats we haven't touched on in a while. The deposit pool has a little bit of breathing room there. We're at 17,971. Whack for weeks and weeks and weeks. We were always at 18,000 or above that. The last week or so, we've seen some room in there. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so a whale came into the rocket pool and spun up over 300 validators and just ate like thousands of ETH from the queue. And what ended up happening there was that, it removed any premium that we had, and the premium's all gone. So it took, a few hours for the deposit pool to get filled up again. And you can see this on the 15th there. Where we had multiple thousands of ETH deposited into the deposit pool, and that's showing that that's how many ETH that person took up, and then as that was filled up, we still don't have a premium right now, so it's not worth it for the bots to kind of fill up the deposit pool and take that premium. So what will happen is either the deposit pool will fill up again and the premium will develop, which will then make it so the deposit pool stays full, or we'll just stay at this kind of like sweet spot right now where there's some space, but not too much that people are jumping in, but enough that it's keeping the staking flowing, hopefully. So there's been some good days of deposits recently, and in the Discord, Val was sharing a chart which was showing deposits over time and our ETH minting, sorry, over time. And for a while there, for a few months, we were kind of plateaued at around 525 to 530,000. But it looks like, in the last couple of weeks, we've kind of moved up a leg to around 565,000, which is where we are now, I think. So this deposit pool, it's ebbs and flows depending on what the market conditions are saying. And right now it's kind of in equilibrium. But anyway, there's, movement one way or another, then it forces action. And I think, the state right now is that the deposit pool will be full again within a matter of days. And then we'll start developing a premium, which means it will just stay full.
Yeah, normally it fills up within a matter of hours. It might even be
Mm-hmm.
shorter. It seems like anytime Jasper tweets it, within
Yeah.
minutes, it fills
Yeah.
right back up.
And
You
that's what
mentioned on
happened
your
this time
show,
as well.
yeah, you mentioned on your
Yeah.
show yesterday that Eigenlayer is expected to reopen their um, liquid staking deposit pool, or however you want to call it, which it seems like we would expect any deficit in our deposit pool be immediately filled up because Eigenlayer is a hot thing. People want
Yep.
to farm that airdrop, buy some RETH and dump it in to
The,
Eigenlayer's
the
contract.
the problem is that if someone of decent size withdraws their account and it's at 18,000, then it becomes overfull, which then means that people can't arb the premium, and then
Mm-hmm.
you gotta wait for someone to be willing to spin up a validator without caring about the premium, so then other people can kind of get into it. So there's been moments recently, where we've stayed above 18,000 for some days or weeks at a time, and that it's like I said, it's all about the dynamics where things kind of like move. and you just got to be in that exact right sweet spot to get the premium. And hopefully, there's a lot of people waiting for it to happen. Hopefully, when Eigenlayer goes live, so that should be pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. Yesterday, moving on to, let's talk about the smoothing pool. So yesterday was let's refresh this page. I think we had the reward period for January end. So that means that the smoothing pool would pay out. And let's just check on how we're doing. Yesterday, I think it looked like a pretty mediocre month when it comes to the pool. We were
Yep.
around 294 ETH. So we weren't able to eclipse 300. It just seems like kind of a average month, perhaps just a slightly below average. Not
Hmm.
much MEV, I guess, with our smoothing pool participants, but still, if you are a participant in the smoothing pool, you still got a little bit of a payout last night.
Yeah. Yeah, so the average block proposal now for a node operator, I think, is 120 days. So you're waiting 4 months before you get a proposal. And the fact is that in the smoothing pool, you get something every month. Um, However, with the smoothing pool, like one of the reasons why the amount was quite low this month was because activity on chain was really low over the holiday period, which of course this time covers. So gas was low, there wasn't too much activity, which means MEV is low, and there
Mhm.
wasn't much volatility. I guess those prices were kind of going up, but it wasn't necessarily like, with swings of volatility up or down. So there wasn't much MEV to kind of capture or arbing to do there to kind of balance that out. So I think that's one of the reasons why this month was quite low. It's just, in the coming months, if activity on chain lifts up, then, we can hopefully do quite well. It used to be that 10 ETH per day was kind of like the benchmark. So we kind of came in a
Mhm.
little bit under that, but we've got a lot more pools in the smoothing pool now. So I think the benchmark should be somewhere around like 15 ETH a day, really, to kind of set the par score. So if you look at it like that, we didn't have a great month in the smoothing pool, but it's better than getting nothing if you had no proposals this month.
Yeah, and actually, with so many validators online, we're over 900,000 on the Beacon chain.
Hmm.
The, and the average time between proposed blocks for a particular validator is getting longer and longer and longer.
Hmm.
So your chances of hitting the lottery become less and less and less.
Yep.
It's another argument to, hey, join the smoothing pool because your odds are getting worse at hitting the lottery if you're proposing your own block, and
Yep.
this way you can at least get some payout of ETH, free ETH every month. It's just another
Absolutely.
argument for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Because on the timeline, right, like for it to balance out in terms of smoothing rewards versus winning the lottery chances, like I think Ethereum protocol is going to fix the MEV payout, like by burning the MEV or something like that, long before your average will work out. So it just makes sense to be the smoothing pool.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to the price of RPL, which fell about 4.8% over the last 24 hours per CoinGecko. And I think, I think partly because of this whole Twitter thing, we could speculate. Did people panic? I know when I logged in yesterday to Twitter, first thing I saw was, the hacked Rocket Pool account saying, "Oh my gosh, the smart contract's been compromised. You need to um, immediately switch over to
Micro.
this other contract."
Yeah.
And you get this pit in your stomach, like, "Oh my gosh, what happened?" So immediately I went to Discord to find out what's going on, and then you realize the Twitter account was hacked. But perhaps there was some panic selling of some people with RPL,
Yep.
and which contribute to a slight lower price overnight.
Absolutely. And, we had such an explosive growth period last week around the BTC ETF approval. They're going up, 30% in a matter of days. And over, I think, 3 days, went up like pretty much 30%, if not more. Yeah, nearly 50%, I can see. That, a retracement is kind of natural to happen in that situation. And now it's just, like you just said, we found a good level of support that's kind of at the peak of the previous moves up. So hopefully we can like hold this area in the next couple of days, and then we can start to move upwards again. That's the idea. But
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to work in practice. Of course, with crypto, you never know where prices are going to go up or down, sideways. you just got to ride with the waves. And sadly, right now we're going a little bit down, but hopefully in the coming days we'll start to move up again.
Yeah, and the ratio right at this moment, we're back below 0.013. We're at 0.01285.
Yep.
So we've receded a little bit. I think earlier in the week we were in the upper 0.0138 or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that
Yeah.
was
So
like that was a more normal retracement, like, from hitting 0.015 pretty much. This one I think now is a little bit more to do with the hack, because the RPL price has gone down and it's not, the ETH price hasn't, right? Like the ETH price has gone down by I think 1%. The RPL price has gone down by 5%. So we've lost over 4%, basically around 4% against ETH, and that I think is normal too. It's just hopefully we can kind of hold on to where we are now, and then it keeps the sentiment positive in the market.
yeah, and you could look over the last 30 days here. We're up 21. And this is U.S. dollar terms, up 21%. So
Yeah,
a little. I guess what do you call it? Buy the dip, right? As they say. I think
yeah,
we're in a good space as opposed to say 6 months ago. So
yeah.
we're fine. Okay, let's talk about the hack a little bit. It's called a pink drainer, and apparently these hackers have done this to several different protocols. They seem to have a strategy. They seem to rely on phishing. Just as I said, when I logged in, there's this scary post from the official Rocket Pool with the blue check mark on Twitter saying they've been hacked. Holy cow! Immediately switch over, and unfortunately, there was some people who do get. I know what it seemed to have skipped over, but unfortunately one of our users had had clicked on the link and they lost, I think, 6 or 7 ETH they put in. They got fooled, and it's always sad when that happens. It is sometimes, it does feel like the Wild West, and unfortunately Twitter's security is so terrible. But what can a crypto user, a Rocket Pool, a node operator, someone who's involved with crypto do to protect themselves? Like, how do you keep your emotions in check to not get scammed by a very sophisticated phishing attempt?
I think the main thing that we need to be thinking about is just verify, verify, verify. Like if you see, the more outlandish the claim or the more unlikely the claim, the more I think we should be prudent about verifying the contents of that claim. So instead of acting, I know that, there's a time urgency. Yeah, this is what you were trying to find, DeFi by Night, who got taken for
Yeah.
6 figures. Yeah, so that's over $100,000, which is absolutely horrible. Like it's like you said, it's devastating. So I feel really bad for DeFi by Night. They saw the tweet. The language of the tweet is written in such a way, right, to make you like there's a sense of urgency, like you have to act right now or you're going to lose everything. And by falling into that, then you lose everything. Like it's truly like horrible the way it happens. But like the main advice that I can give you is like, always be on guard. Always assume that the person is trying to like always assume that this is scam. That should always be your default position, which is really horrible, right? Because you don't want that to be the case. But that should always be your default position. Like when you see something, think it's a scam, think it's some kind of like phishing attempt, and then verify. Like go to the Discord, go to like Twitter, go to like multiple sources, and like or message people directly and ask if this is the case. And then once you get a confirmation of that, then you can act on it in a way that is hopefully more measured. But it's horrible like that this happens. And the reason why these bastards, sorry, I'm not sorry for my language because that's what they are. The reason why this happens over and over again is because they make money, right? Like this person like lost 6 figures, right? So for them to compromise the Rocket Pool, the Twitter account, they know that they either however it happened, we don't know yet because the post-mortem isn't out. But however they were able to compromise the the Twitter account here, it worked out for them because they've stolen literally hundreds and thousands of dollars worth of crypto from people, and that is truly abhorrent. Like it's just disgusting that these people could do this, and it really makes me angry. And I don't want it's crypto can be so exciting and so much fun at times, when things are going well, and the last thing that you want is to kind of be on guard the whole time and kind of be cautious the whole time, because it's not a nice mental space to be in. But sadly, what ends up happening is that you have to, as a matter of survival. And just like we've been saying on this show, like one of the main rules of the bull market is don't blow yourself up. I think the
Right.
second rule is like don't get hacked. And sadly, the way to do that is to always be on guard, and always expect that whatever you're interacting with is compromised, is a lie, is a hack somehow. And yeah, that's all I can say.
Yeah. So there'll be a post-mortem once this is all resolved
Mhm.
with Twitter.
Yeah.
Since Elon Musk has taken over, the security has been going downhill, trying to
Yeah.
get customer support. I mean, it's ridiculous that a team that's got over $1 billion in market value locked up can't get their Twitter account unhacked.
three
It's
billion
nuts.
dollars we hit last week. Yeah, $3 billion.
3 billion.
Yeah, last week.
It's
Yeah,
crazy. I mean, it's just not like this isn't some guy in his basement who got his, Twitter account compromised. It's like this is
yeah,
a lot of people's livelihoods depend on it. But
absolutely.
Darcy has put out a quick facts about what happened so far. This was yesterday.
Yeah,
And just one thing, first thing I thought of was, are they using two-factor authentication? And they said yes. It's been enabled for years.
yeah,
They use an app-based authenticator, which is what I do. I don't use my telephone number. That's
hmm,
just good hygiene,
yeah.
for security. And it still got hacked. So now you're wondering, okay, what's going on here? Is there something inside of Twitter that is gone haywire that is being
Yep.
exploited?
I think so. I think that is a theory, right? Like, and I think that there's definitely weight you can add to that theory, because it's the only thing that makes sense in that situation. Like, of course, there could be human elements along the way where someone clicked on a link that was bad or whatever. But when you put all of this information together, like, the only thing that makes sense is someone who has access to the workings of Twitter can somehow get involved with this. That's like just a theory, just an idea. I'm not saying that that's what happened, but it's something that makes sense in my mind. That combining the fact that Twitter support is atrocious with the fact that these security measures were set up that meant it shouldn't have happened. Kind of when you put those two pieces of information together, it kind of points to a very ugly picture for Twitter.
Yeah, or it could just be a piece of code within the Twitter, I don't know, API is vulnerable, that's been exploited, and there's nobody there at Twitter to fix it.
That's the
Just like there's
problem.
nobody there to help. I mean, remember Jasper got his account hacked over
Yep,
the summer or last 6 months
it's
ago,
suspended. Yeah,
suspended,
yeah,
and he was unable to get the original account back. It's just
yep.
gone. He had to create a whole new one. So I don't know. We'll find out. Hopefully, this will be resolved soon.
I hope
But
so.
if the smart contracts are safe, you have nothing to worry about. This is just please don't click on any links from the Rocket Pool Twitter handle
Yeah,
for now, and try to just be safe. Always go to Discord. If you've got any significant money locked up in anything, you should be a member of the Discord of that protocol, so that you can stay up with the facts in case something like this happens. Having said that, the Discord can also be hacked too, so you got to be careful
yep,
there too. So
yep.
be careful. Always second guess what you're reading, and hopefully, we'll just don't pull yourself up like you said, Whack.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's move on to some Ethereum news. Now we've been talking about the next. We got Denkun coming in March, hopefully, which will create a new gas market for L2s and amongst a couple other things. And then after that, the core devs have already started working on what they call in the Prague Electra upgrade, which will probably be Q4 or maybe Q1 of next year. And there's a whole bunch of EIPs here that are considering. This is from Tim Byko. But there's a couple here, Whack, that really pertain to Rocket Pool that are of
Hmm.
interest. One is EIP 7002, which is triggerable exits. And the other one is EIP 7251, which is increased max effective balance.
Yep.
So these can positively impact megapools. Why don't we first start with megapools? Why don't we explain to the listeners why we should be really, really freaking excited about megapools? Let's start there.
Yeah. Megapools is going to be a huge scaling upgrade for Rocket Pool. So the way that it'll work is a Megapool will be a new kind of validator that you'll have, a validating contract. So right now, every validator you have has its own unique contract. But with Megapools, what will happen is you'll be able to put many validators onto one contract. So that will make it so your node can, all the validators, you can see what's there for the node. And the fact that they'll be all on one contract will mean that you can punish different validators within your node in a way. So if you are misbehaving, instead of just that one validator that's been misbehaving getting punished, you can now kind of distribute the punishment across the whole node. So why is this a good thing, right? It's a good thing because right now we have collaterals levels set up in such a way that only in the extreme outlier situation can the person behave badly against Rocket Pool and get away with it, because the chances of having 8 ETH, stealing 8 ETH is, or more than 8 ETH, is really, really incredibly low. So the way this is going to work is, you need each one of your validators to have that bond, basically. However, when you move to node level collateral, which what we'll have with Megapools, what will happen is you'll only need a much smaller amount of collateral across a bigger set of nodes. So if you have one validator that has 8 ETH, for your second validator, because you already have the 8 ETH from the first one, it might be that it's 4 ETH. And then the third one, because you've already got 12 ETH now securing your contract, your Megapool, then you might just need 2. And then following on from there, you might just need 2 for all of them. So this Megapools really unlocks the idea of lower level LEBs, like LEB 4s, LEB 2s, even potentially LEB 1s in certain situations. So what that means then is, just like now, every ETH that a validator brings, a node operator brings, you can mint 3 RETH against that. Right, because you bring 8, you can mint 24. With LEB4s, you can bring 1 unit of ETH. The node operator will bring, like you bring 4, and you can mint 28. So it's 7 to 1. With LEB1s, it's 31 ETH you can mint compared to the 1 ETH that you bring. So the dynamics are going to shift like very, very strongly. And these two, the 7002 is, I think, much more important than 7251. But 7251 is really nice as well, because it'll let you just put everything into one validator. Like, so you don't even necessarily need like that contract that I was just talking about, Megapool contract, in the same way, because it will all just be one validator, right? Like it's really, really nice system. So both of those together, I think, will help Rocket Pool tremendously. The reason why the forced exit is so important, the execution layer triggerable exit, is because the Rocket Pool contracts will be able to force you out if they find that you're misbehaving, even on the first instance. So if you have 8 ETH of collateral, and if we see that you're trying to steal MEV, you can get booted out. Right now, there's no way to kind of prevent that. If people like launch kind of not sophisticated attacks, but like there's attack vectors that are possible for people to manipulate with MEV theft, and there's ways to mitigate that the protocol has. But with Megapools, it'll just make it so much more powerful. Sorry, with forced exits, it'll make it so much more powerful that I think it's going to be a tremendous boon for Rocket Pool, but also for other liquid staking services as well. Just like Lido, like if any Lido node operator goes rogue, then you can force them off their validator set, and it'll be the same for other liquid staking services as well. So 7002 definitely is huge, and then 7251 I think will be like a nice to have, but not necessarily a must have. One of the things that we should be clear with this is there's a whole lot of EIPs that are kind of up for consideration right now. It doesn't mean all of them are going to go through, but if we can get those 2 to go through, I think that will then form part of like a liquid staking token like narrative that will come with Saturn, hopefully at the same time. So, I really feel like there's a chance that we can capture market attention in a way that we had around Atlas and Shanghai. The Ethereum upgrade to Shanghai, which was withdrawals allowed on staking. Atlas had, withdrawals coming into Rocket Pool, but also LEP8s. So those two things like really caught attention and propelled RPL to all-time highs against ETH and the US dollar. With Saturn 2, potentially Saturn 2, and Petra or Prague, Electra, whatever you want to call it, potentially there's, a perfect storm that we can potentially tap into at that point as well. So this next year, like I've said, like so many times, this next year is incredibly exciting for Rocket Pool. And, there's a chance that things can line up really, really well that will help Rocket Pool just like perform phenomenally in this period.
Yeah, so price go up, scaling, easier to make mini pools with smaller amounts of ETH. It all sounds great for Megapools, right?
So the price go up is potentially like, a pleasant side effect of that. Like the main thing is that, we have access to unimaginable protocol growth here now. And then that's the main thing, right? And then with that, you hope that the price appreciates,
right.
But that's just a side effect. Like, the main thing that we're getting here is Rocket Pool potentially growing to 10, 15+% of the stake. This is the path towards doing that. And it's going to be incredibly exciting to see.
Definitely. So let's move on to Jasper has a proposal that's being, I think, considered by the GMC. I know you're a member of the GMC. You don't have to give your opinion, but he is proposing a way to integrate Rocket Pool and Eigenlayer. And just can you give us a kind of a high-level explanation of what exactly Jasper is proposing here?
Yeah. So Jasper's proposing that Rocket Pool node operators, along with using their regular validators for staking, will also be able to use their validators to perform Eigenlayer services. So he wants there to be kind of like an add-on to the smart node stack potentially, or some kind of like software that Rocket Pool node operators will install that will then let them perform duties for Rocket Pool, by staking, but also let them perform duties for Eigenlayer. So the idea is that as you perform duties for Eigenlayer, Eigenlayer will pay you, and you'll make more money, which is absolutely wonderful, and everybody wants that. The benefit to Eigenlayer would be that they'll be able to tap into decentralized, geographically diverse, client diverse, node operator set, which is the most robust node operator set in all of cryptocurrency. Like there's not any single system out there that has this level of users interacting with it. Like on a very, very conservative estimate, like 2,000 node operators, on a totally like not real estimate, like 3,500 node operators now. Like, for Eigenlayer to be able to use that number of node operators would be astronomical for their services. Like they'd be able to perform duties that are just not even imaginable right now in terms of like data availability that could be made available to them. So the idea is that it's excellent for Rocket Pool node operators because they would be making, extra money. It'd be excellent for Eigenlayer because they can perform their duties in a much more robust way and a much more performant way. So the idea is that, this is a win-win for both protocols, and a win-win for Ethereum as well. So it's a win-win-win. So a triple win. That's how Jasper is presenting it. There are some, members of the community who are hesitant towards this perspective. And, I'm not discounting that perspective at all. There's worries that Eigenlayer can be a centralizing force. There's worries that Eigenlayer can be, a controlling force in the network. There's worries that Eigenlayer could, mess around with Rocket Pool node operators stake and how they could or could not slash that. There's a lot of questions about who gets first dibs on the ETH that gets unstaked. Does Eigenlayer get first dibs on that? Does Rocket Pool get first dibs on that? At the moment, the way it stands is that Rocket Pool, of course, gets first dibs on that, but Eigenlayer would like first dibs on that. So we don't really know how that's going to play out. So there's a lot of questions here that still need to be answered, and people are actively discussing those questions quite actively. And then, this Eigenlayer likely to go live in Q2 or Q3. Maybe that's enough time to build up some partnerships. But Jasper is incredibly enthusiastic about this happening, and I can without saying too much about the GMC's position, of course, is I can personally see why Jasper is excited about this.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how this plays out because there's definitely concerns about Eigenlayer potential downsides. But the fact is, something Eigenlayer or something like it is inevitably is going to happen.
Mm.
And how do we make it safe for for the ecosystem, or as
Yeah.
safe as possible? These things could always blow up. But if it's inevitable, it's hard to put the genie back in the bottle, right?
Yeah.
Someone's going to come up with this idea of restaking ETH
Mhm.
security at one point or another. So here we are. So we'll keep an eye on this going forward.
Ideally, what will happen is we'll have multiple versions of Eigenlayer running. Like, of
Mm-hmm.
course, Eigenlayer, but then competitors, right? Like, if we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 competitors to Eigenlayer providing similar services of restaking, and then the stake kind of gets divided out across that could potentially be one solution.
Mm-hmm.
They are real worries, and I'm hoping that they get fixed soon.
Okay, great. Let's move on real quick. I just want to give a shout out to um, Stake Rocketpool.lens, who maintains our the RPL DeFi is it DeFi.com? Let's see. RPL
RPLDefi.com, yeah. But that link
RPLDeFi.com.
wasn't working, I think. I'm not sure if it's working now. But oh yeah, it's been fixed. Okay, great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once a month or so, we like to just highlight this because it gives you all kinds of opportunities to, if you've got our ETH that's sitting around in your wallet, perhaps you want to, you know, utilize a strategy to increase your yield, or you got RPL that's idle. You're thinking about how can I use this? So this chart is updated, I think, on a weekly basis, which is excellent. It's a one-stop shop. Right now, you can see here if you've got some RETH, you can put it into an LP on Arbitrum, and the APR is 17.98%. Or you put it in the balancer, we're getting over 10% on Optimism, and you could go on and on, and it goes from like, it's nice because they kind of, the chart is set up as on your risk curve, going from probably safest to more risky. So depending how degen you are, you can decide on what you want to do. But I just want to
Hmm.
highlight this, Rack, because it's a nice feature. In the beginning, we just had one or two DeFi protocols that we were integrated with, and now there's so many, it's hard to keep track of them all. So, just want to give a shout out.
Yeah, Kent is the one who maintains that, and great job, Kent, because it used to be Val was maintaining it, and then Val was just getting swamped. So Kent kind of took over and has been doing a really good job with this DeFi sheet ever since. The little thread that comes out as well every 2 weeks or every month, I think is really
Mm-hmm.
nice. That he kind of just highlights some of the key protocols that are like
Mm-hmm.
incentivizing at the moment. Of course, Arbitrum is doing a big wave of incentives for their protocols right now, and we can see that getting 18% on RPL, providing liquidity on Uniswap for our ETH, wrapped ETH is tremendous. Like, that's really,
Yeah,
really great yield.
definitely.
And it might not be long lasting, but it's definitely available for users right now, and it might be available for the next few weeks or maybe even months. I don't know if it's going to stay that high. The really great rewards don't tend to stay that high, but you have to remember that you're getting 3% on your RE to begin with, and then on top of that you're getting extra rewards from liquidity, like incentives, etc. There are a couple that I've come across recently that are doing some really like huge numbers that aren't actually listed on there. So maybe someone needs to reach out to Ken and kind of tell him to add some more protocols. But I know that Notional Finance are giving incredible yields right now. Also, you have Pancake Swap, which is giving really good yields right now because the price of RPL has gone up and the price of the Pancake Swap cake token has gone up as well. So the
Mm-hmm.
amount that you're getting as rewards has kind of like been boosted. So there's a couple of protocols there that maybe Ken needs to add to that list. But overall, like, it's a really, really great resource that if you are sitting with idle RETH or even RPL, there's stuff that you can actually do with those tokens now, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's move on to our wins for the week. My win, Whack, is I never thought I'd say it's a win, but Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan Chase, he's in Davos yesterday on CNBC. And if you're on social media, you've probably seen clips of him kind of bashing Bitcoin as a pet rock. He definitely is not a fan of Bitcoin. However, if you listen carefully, he said perhaps smart contracts are something to look into, which is a nod to Ethereum, which is a smart contract protocol. So in that 5-minute clip where he's kind of bashing Bitcoin, there was a win in there in that he sees perhaps there's a future for smart contracts because you can actually do something with it. And then he also ended it with saying something to the effect that, I'm a guy who likes yield. I like to see yield in my investments. Another shot at Bitcoin because you don't get yield on it, but on Ethereum you certainly can, earn yield on your ETH. So that was I took that as a win because Jamie Dimon is someone that the financial world listens to. You know, Fink from BlackRock obviously is another. Obviously, he's taken the pill. He's definitely all blockchain and crypto. But that's my win for the week, Jamie Dimon.
Yeah. Just to add to that, this is kind of playing out exactly the way we've been talking about for a while now, right? Like as soon as the Bitcoin ETF was approved, right away we've moved on to the Ethereum ETF hype that started, and this is going to go all the way up to May now. Like, I, I just don't know. I can't see a way that it's not going to be approved, right? Like, it's just the way everything is set up. The same kind of people who were doubting the Bitcoin spot ETF going through are now the same kind of people who are kind of doubting the Ethereum one. And it's like, guys, it's not going to get rejected. This is going to happen. Like, Larry Fink is coming out there literally talking about Ethereum and like the great things about it. Jamie Dimon in a little bit more roundabout way about smart contracts and stuff. But this is it. Like, we're on this is the next step now. This is the next level now. So yeah, like you're going to see more and more of that, I think, Pat, over the coming 3 or 4 months. And that's going to be pretty exciting. For me, my win. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
Just real quick, I just want to say that just think that now that the talk of Ethereum or Bitcoin is a regular thing on financial news. That in Davos, you get 5 to 8 minutes with the CEO of one of the largest financial institutions in the world, whether it's BlackRock or if it's JP Morgan Chase. And what do they talk? They want to ask about? They want to ask about crypto.
Yep.
Look how far we've come. So, anyways, what is your win for the week?
My win is something personal. I was at a wedding over the last weekend, and it was beautiful, and people were happy, and that was really nice for me. So I really enjoyed that, and that's why I missed Friday's episode last week as well, because I was busy with wedding stuff. So I was hoping that I'd get it recorded, but I just ran out of time. But that was really lovely for me to just like step away from crypto, step away from everything like digital, and just be like in the presence of people that I really love and have a really great time. One thing that did happen, however, was people talked about crypto, which is normally quite a top signal. But I think it's still very early in the markets, and I think it's people who've been in the market for a few years who kind of just wanted to talk about it because it was exuberant, right? Like the fun things were happening, but there's definitely like those first now instances of people starting to talk about crypto in real life that's starting. And the thing that I'm not happy about is I wanted that to happen a year from now. I don't want it to happen now.
So, I know. Wait, we still got like 3 or 4x or 5x from here. Like
exactly,
you're talking about not until next year's wedding.
exactly. That's right. But yeah, like that's the thing. Like it's going to be interesting to see how the market psychology phases kind of happen. And I'm trying to keep a close eye on that. So that was a win for me this week.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks to everyone for listening. Just disclosures, obviously, that we both own ETH and RPL. You could be very careful with, don't take any of this as financial advice, but we always thank you for listening and watching, whether it's on podcasts or on YouTube. Stay tuned to the daily shows that WAC puts out with Rocket Fuel, and we will see you next week on the Weekly Orbit. So WAC, until next week, take care.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.